democracy, regional and global peace and security, and people-to-people relations, among others. We held in-depth discussions on ways of enhancing economic cooperation and shared ideas on new opportunities to elevate trade relations between our two countries. I am pleased to note that Dutch companies continue to have high preference to invest in Kenya, as demonstrated by over 90 Dutch investors accompanying His Majesty the King. There will be numerous activities during the visit for the business delegation to assess the opportunities for investing in Kenya and form important linkages with the Kenyan counterparts. You may wish to know that other than the visiting teams, there are 150 Dutch companies operating in Kenya. Trade between our two countries also remains robust, with Netherlands being Kenya's second largest export destination in Europe and the first in the EU. In 2023 alone, our exports to the Netherlands were valued at over 75 billion Kenya shillings. Additionally, in our discussions today, we have agreed to leverage the Kenya-EU Economic Partnership Agreement to support Kenya exporters to access the EU market and expand trade with the Netherlands. Notably, we held the political consultations. As we held the political consultations, Their Majesties, the King and Queen, are in Naivasha to visit the inland container terminal and some flower farms. This visit to Naivasha will showcase our partnership with the Netherlands in revolutionizing the transport of flowers and other horticultural products right from the farm, on land and by sea freight to overseas markets through the Cool Logistics Corridor project currently being undertaken by the two countries. Accordingly, in today's political consultations, we have agreed to accelerate our efforts to leverage Dutch technology and innovation to enhance the production and export of horticultural products from Kenya to the European market. At the multilateral level, we have agreed to cooperate in advocating for increased and fair development financing for developing countries. We also reiterate our shared and unequivocal commitment to a rules-based international and multilateral system and the principles enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations, including respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity and the protection of human rights as cornerstones of peaceful coexistence between the countries. We also noted that the concurrent membership of Kenya and the Netherlands in the Human Rights Council presents an excellent opportunity for the two countries to collaborate at the multilateral level to promote respect and protection of human rights globally. In environmental conservation and climate action, we appreciate the Netherlands' support to climate change adaptation projects in Kenya under the Financing Locally Led Climate Action program being implemented in Marsabit, Isiolo, and Garissa counties. We have also agreed to scale up our efforts to reduce greenhouse gases, emissions, and strengthen resilience and adaptive capacity by prioritizing green growth and advocating for a more reformed and inclusive global climate financing framework. We have also agreed to expand collaboration in water infrastructure, renewable energy, and climate-smart agriculture. Our meeting today is taking place at the backdrop of a myriad of conflicts in our respective regions and globally, and a multilateral system and global order that is paralyzed by inaction and prioritization of power politics at the expense of global peace. We have therefore shared views on the conflicts in our region and in Europe, and agreed to enhance our partnership in peace building. I reaffirmed Kenya's unwavering commitment to promoting conflict prevention, resolution, and stabilization efforts both within the region and globally. I would like to make it clear that Kenya is non-partisan in any of the conflicts in the region. Instead, due to our democratic space and freedom of media, many groups have found Nairobi as a place to communicate. Kenya is committed to finding long-lasting peace and security solutions in the region and welcomes recent developments, including the ongoing EAC SADC process. As I conclude, I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Caspar Weldekamp for the fruitful engagement and measurable milestones we have achieved today. Both sides recognize the tremendous opportunities our relations present to the mutual benefit of our countries. I reaffirm Kenya's commitment to deepen and broaden our relations with the Netherlands and look forward to many engagements in the future. Lastly, it is now my pleasure to invite our guest today, His Excellency Caspar Weldekamp, to address the press. We will share this statement with you. It's quite elaborate, but we'll give it to you as we conclude. Please, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Prime Cabinet Secretary Mudavadi, for hosting me today, for the very warm welcome to Nairobi. And sorry for the journalist that you had to wait for so long. It's entirely my fault. And it is because we had so much to discuss in depth, and that is shows also the depth and broad character of our relationship between our countries. I'm delighted to accompany His Majesty King Willem-Alexander and Her Majesty Queen Maxima on their very first state visit of the Netherlands to Kenya. And it's also my first visit to this country. And like many Dutch tourists who come here, I'm struck by Kenya's warmth, its beauty, but above all, its energy, its vibrancy. And during our political consultations this morning, we discussed many topics, such as current affairs, peace and security, multilateral cooperation, development and trade and investment. We discussed ongoing conflicts in the region and elsewhere, such as Sudan, South Sudan, DRC, Somalia, the Red Sea and the Houthis. Also discussed Ukraine, by the way. And running through all these discussions that we had today was a shared focus on the future, on a partnership that unlocks opportunities for the next generation for both Kenyans and Dutch alike. And because although our countries have maintained close ties for over 60 years, it is the future where I believe our nations truly meet. First of all, because we want to. We share many similarities that make our partnership a natural fit. Both our countries are outward-looking, trade-oriented, driven by entrepreneurial spirit. We are both regional hubs in our parts of the world, Kenya in East Africa and the Netherlands in Europe. And we both value sustainability and innovation. Kenya is leading in renewable energy, while the Netherlands is known for its expertise in sustained agriculture and water management. And we both believe in multilateral cooperation, the rules-based international order, as the colleague already mentioned, respect for international law. And we actively contribute to peacekeeping, conflict resolution, having a strong voice on issues like climate change and human rights. And this natural fit creates a strong foundation for our people, our businesses and our governments to connect, to cooperate and to grow together. So yes, I'm confident that on this solid base, our ties will grow stronger over the next years. But secondly, we need to deepen our relations. The world is changing rapidly. Global power shifts, rising geopolitical tensions make partnerships with stable, forward-looking countries like Kenya more important than ever. And as new powers increase their influence, it is vital that we stand together with partners who share our commitment to stability, sustainability, and the rules-based international order. And this state visit is more than a confirmation of our long-standing friendship. It is a joint commitment to deepen and elevate our partnership for the benefit of both countries. Your country is full of opportunity, driven by a dynamic young population that has the potential to play a transformative role in shaping Kenya's and Africa's growth in the years to come. It is important to tap into this potential, and it is important to listen to young people's concerns. The Netherlands is eager to work with you to promote sustainable trade and development, to tackle shared security challenges, to champion our common values on the global stage. And this is a partnership of opportunity, a partnership for prosperity, a partnership for our shared security stability, a partnership for the future. So let's continue building this future together. Asanteni Sana, thank you very much.
We'll now take, with your permission, Your Excellencies will take 3 or 4 questions. You'll introduce yourself, the media house you work within, and go straight to the question. Let me see by show of hands how many we have. So number 1, number 2, lady, number 3, madam, number 4. Those will be the questions.
All right, my name is Jeff Kirui from KTN. My question is to you, Minister Caspar Veldkamp. Your government reportedly received 300 emails from Kenyans urging you to reconsider this royal visit to Kenya over concerns of human rights violation ranging from killings, abductions, and forced disappearance during the anti-finance bill protest 2024. And some in the social media platforms argue that this visit is actually disregard of those concerns. What is your response, and what is the space of human rights violation in your discussions today?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for the question. We had a very mature dialogue again today. Starting point is that the democracy, as His Majesty the King said, democracy is of course never fully accomplished. Kenya has a modern constitution. Nonetheless, the events of the summer of last year raised concern also in our society regarding rule of law and accountability. We discussed these concerns. That's an ongoing discussion. A month ago, our human rights ambassador came to Kenya and was warmly welcomed, had a good discussion here. We discussed such concerns also there. Today, we've got a mature relationship between both our countries in which we can discuss such matters. And that is not only done at the level of His Majesty, it's also done at my level, and again also at the level of civil servants. And I think it matters that we have such kind of discussions because worldwide democracy is under pressure. There are many countries where you can predict elections before they have taken place. Not in my country, not in this country. So we are countries with elected governments, and where we have the maturity in our relationship to discuss matters of mutual concern. And I did so again together with the Prime Cabinet Secretary, and I really appreciate that we can have this mature discussion among each other as friends, as societies that have strong bonds, and countries that have strong relations since over 60 years.
My name is Efinya Kidi, Ramogi TV Royal Media. Mine goes to Prime CS, Mudavadi. Both of you have mentioned peace building. I would just like to know, Somalia president survived a militia attack. So does this worry the country now that we are seeking to enhance more peace measures between Kenya and also other countries like Netherlands now? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. It does worry us. Any violation to peace and security anywhere should worry us. And what did happen in Somalia is most unfortunate, but it brings to life the fact that the threat to peace and security in the region, and particularly now, if I may talk of the Horn of Africa, it is something that we must all take seriously. It will not deter Kenya from engaging in the peace initiatives that are ongoing. There are some that you are well aware of that involve South Sudan that will continue. Also peace initiatives in Somalia itself that will continue. We have the DRC process, which I alluded to in the statement, that will continue, and also the Sudan challenge. We shall continue being a constructive interlocutor on matters of peace in the region. Mr. Minister, maybe just for purposes of bringing out the symbolism of this room is called Amani Room. It stems from the 42 days of negotiating Kenya's peace process in this very room with the late Kofi Annan, the late Mukapa, Madame Gracia Machel, and of course the different parties from the Kenyan political landscape. And I was part of that team, including President Ruto, who is our president today. And it is through dialogue, those 42 days, it was through that dialogue that we were able to come to terms and even lay the foundation for Kenya's new constitution that came up in 2010. So all I'm trying to emphasize is that as we stand here, the symbolism is immense, that matters of peace and security must be handled through dialogue, and we shall continue doing that as a country.
Yes, my name is Andrea Dijkstra. I'm a Dutch journalist for Dutch daily newspaper Trouw. My question is for Prime CS Honorable Mudavadi. Our Dutch king raised yesterday evening also the Dutch concerns about the reports of abductions and impunity in Kenya. I'm sure you also in the last few hours spoke with Minister Veldkamp about the importance of accountability. Therefore, my question is, which actions does the Kenyan government take to end the impunity in relation to these abduction cases? And how many suspects have been arrested in relation to the abductions of more than 80 young Kenyans in the last 9 months?
First of all, I just want to say that Kenya is a country that believes in the rule of law. And we have institutions. We have the IPOA, Independent Police Oversight Authority, which is headed by a good legal mind, Isaac Hassan. And we expect where there are complaints, and indeed there was even a report of that was handed over to the president, where there are reports of any violations or transgressions, we expect action to be taken through the judicial process. And we are not about to run away from this particular position. So indeed, if there are any transgressions by the security agencies, we expect the due process of the law to take place. We value all lives, we value everybody. Equally, I think it is important that I also highlight that on Kenya's part, let us protect our freedoms by being responsible, so that violations from both sides, if you have a right to demonstrate as enshrined in the Constitution, do so, but do so peacefully, so that we are not involved in destroying property and harming other Kenyans who also have a right to engage. So all I can say is that we expect the institutions that have been provided for and have the legal and constitutional mandate to go to the full length of the investigations. And I can assure you, where appropriate conclusive evidence is put together, the government will not hesitate and will not obstruct in the prosecution process going forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Ode Francis from Citizen TV. Mine is about the lady Nduta who was imprisoned in Vietnam. two questions. One, so far, apart from Nduta, how many other prisoners do we have in Vietnam in regards to trafficking? And then the second one, I'm tempted to ask if Nduta was apprehended in Vietnam, how did she successfully traffic from JKIA? What does that mean when it comes to our security apparatus within our international airport? Asante.
Thank you. That's a very critical question, and I'll attempt to deal with it in maybe 2 or 3 parts. First, it is unfortunate that a Kenyan is facing this kind of situation. It's not a pleasant situation, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in particular my PS, has been trying to converse with his counterpart in Vietnam to see if there can be some mitigation in this process. So that is one thing, and we hope that there can be some success so that there is no summary execution as we go ahead. But there are issues that we must also deal with. I can tell you that in different countries today, I may not have an exact figure on Vietnam, but later, because I was planning to issue a statement on this particular space, but I'll attempt to deal with it now. We have a record, and we are still counting, that out of the Kenyans in the diaspora, we have a total of about 1,000 Kenyans in different countries facing incarceration for different offenses. Each country will have a number. Okay? Now, some could be misdemeanors, some could be very serious offenses. So I cannot specifically at this stage tell you that this is the particular offense per individual. And we are trying to gather data from other countries, because as Kenyans travel, they do not declare that they are traveling. So they travel on their own volition. It is their right, and they can go to whichever country they can go to, as long as they have their visas approved by those respective countries. So that's one factor. Second, the issue of drug trafficking. And we are not trying to say she's guilty or not guilty, other than what we have as a record from the judicial process in Vietnam. So ours is not about a judgment, but working on that basis. If we want to also send a clear message as a country, we need to be careful that Kenyans who are stepping out into the diaspora do not fall into the trap of engaging in any illegal activities. It's absolutely important that this is taken. We want responsible Kenyans at home, and we equally want responsible Kenyans in the diaspora, in whatever country you are in. We have been at the forefront in promoting bilateral labor agreements, trade, also focusing on responsible mobility of labor and so forth. We've been talking to these things. And one of the things I've been emphasizing is that please, the young Kenyans that are going out, remember that the moment you board a plane and the wheels have lifted, when you land in whatever country you're going into, the laws that apply are not Kenyan laws. They are the laws of that respective country. So please respect the law. Vietnam has got its own judicial processes. And we want to make it clear that we do not want to market Kenya as a conduit for illicit trade, whether drugs or human trafficking or any other contraband or even illicit firearms. We have to be very clear to this. And we have to be collective and understanding on this matter. So it is important that as we deal with these cases, we have to appreciate that it's a big issue. And in certain instances, we have a process where we are also working on instruments that are being negotiated by Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Attorney General's office so that we can have mutual agreements on even how to deal with exchange of prisoners and so forth. And this is a process where you have to talk to each country separately because the rules may be different that would allow mutual exchange of those who either have almost concluded their term or they are about to end. So you have to look at it also in the context that if somebody is murdered in Kenya by somebody else, we expect the rules of Kenya to apply. Those who may be involved in illicit drug trade, whether they are Kenyans or not, but if they are found within the Kenyan space, then the laws of Kenya will apply on those matters. So I think I can only appeal to you, and thank you for your question because it's so important that we convey this message to the Kenyans in an objective and fair way so that nobody thinks that it's a simple game. Once you step into a plane, you board a plane and you leave and you land somewhere else, the laws that apply are not Kenyan laws. They are the laws of that country. And you have seen there were cases in Kenya of the Akashas. They are incarcerated in the US on drug-related matters. So therefore, this would not, if indeed it's the case, it will not be the first one. Okay? Because there are others. But all lives matter. And all we can say at this stage is that we hope we can find a solution to this. But please convey this message. Help us to really speak to our young people because we have a demographic challenge. Jobs may be a problem for us today, but because our population is very, very young, people might think it's an adventure. It's not an adventure. Security checks in various airports, in various ports of entry in different countries are very intense, very thorough. So don't try to do that. And for Kenya, we also want to make sure that we continue to intensify the surveillance here. I can tell you there are so many also incidents where we have nabbed narcotics at our ports of entry. So it's not as bad as that. But once in a while, it's possible that there could be slippage. So we hope that with this, because we don't really know whether she was conveying this directly from here or from another station. There are even very simple messages that come across, travel tips that don't lose sight of your bag. They ask you a very simple question, who packed your bag? So if you are traveling and you're allowing somebody else to pack your bag, how sure are you that the person packing your bag is Jesus? Thank you.
This brings us to the end of this briefing. Thank you, Your Excellencies, for the engagement.